What got you into producing?
What got me into producing? I started out as into the camera department. I like camera operating and DPing and first assisting because I was naturally good at it. Before I got into the film industry, I actually worked in computers. I coded websites. I did project management for different products up in Silicon Valley. So my mind was already into the technical, so I liked cameras. But what really got me into producing was Professor David Schmuller. He's right here.
Right here, people.
And some of the other professors at UNLV, because it really, I was interested because you do everything. You have your hand in everything. You get to talk with everybody on the set. You're there from the very beginning to the very end, and being able to see the process from the beginning to the end without moving on too early or getting cut off because of your role is something that I really enjoyed and what interested in me about producing.
So how do you tackle script breakdowns?
Someone said it. Someone said, I can't believe you like doing all of this stuff because it's like going home and having to do homework when you don't have to. But I actually like to because it's the only it's a process in which you get to really know what's going on, the very detailed, what needs to be there at what time, just who's involved with what. You are the one that knows the script, the story, the production, the ins and out of everything. So the first thing, share your tips on script breakdown. Be detailed. It may seem like it takes a lot of time to be detailed, but the more detailed you can be with your script breakdown, the easier it is in production because you will know. It's pre-production. Everyone should know that pre-production is necessary for production. And the script breakdown just allows you to be able to have everything in an accessible place so you know what it is that you need to bring to the set.
What about contracts? Something I am not a fan of at this moment, but like walk us through that.
Contracts. Hire a lawyer. I really do think if you're low budget, it is difficult. There are contracts that you can find online if you're doing low budget and you don't have a lawyer to help you out. But every lawyer, from my experience, that has went through law school has to go through a class called contracts. And you can correct me if there's any lawyer out there that, if I'm wrong. But rope in a friend. If you're really, really low budget, you can't afford a lawyer, just rope in some lawyer friend. Most people know a lawyer who will look at any contract that you might find and help you and assist you with it.
So speaking of cost, talk about budgeting. How do you budget for these projects?
The first thing that I do is I do a script breakdown because how do I know what I'm going to budget for if I don't know what I need in my movie? In my script breakdown, what that will do is break down every single item that you need for the shoot. Sure, some things might come up, but if I need a pencil, I'm going to put it down. If I need a clipboard, it all goes down on this list, and then I go down and I estimate the cost for every single one of those items, whether it is $1 or whether it's going to be free. And then in my budget, my budgets are pretty close. I try not to estimate because I find that that's where you go over. So yes, you can budget and you can say, I'm going to budget $1,000, $2,000 for wardrobe. But if you don't have a good idea how much the wardrobe, what you need and how much it actually costs, you're going to be way off. So I just like to be very detailed and just budget everything.
How do you go about finding locations?
There are a number of ways. A lot of people are much more open and giving than you may expect. Right now, sometimes I think that there's a fear of talking to people and asking people for things because it's natural for us all to have a fear of rejection. I fear it all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I go up to that person and I ask them, can I just use your cafe for an hour to shoot? They're going to reject me and they're going to say no and I'm going to feel crushed and that's the end of the world. But it's not, because I can go up and I can ask if I can use their cafe for an hour. If they say no, I'm like, okay, thank you. And then you go on to the next location. But the easiest way is through friends and family.
What was, your learning curve? What have you learned since your first film that you produced in 2007 up until your most recent one? What kind of things?
I learned that every project is different. Every person that works on a project is different. The method in which you complete the films is going to be different depending on who you're working with. I've also learned that it is okay to stand up for yourself.
What do you tell young producers that are starting out?
What the advice that I would give you is to go make your projects. They're not going to come to you. You're not going to be a superstar, whatever filmmaker you want to be, a producer, director, DP, editor, unless you practice. You're going to get it wrong the first few times. You're going to fail, but that's where the learning process is, and it's where you just keep going and you find a really good core group of people to work with and work with them. Develop ideas, go out and shoot things, make your own feature film. It might seem really big, it might seem really daunting, and it is, but you have to create your own work sometimes in order for other stuff to come up. I do want to thank Professor David Schmuller. I know I say professor now because now I'm student again. So anybody who is a professor gets to be called professor again. But Professor David Schmuller really was the one that pushed me into this. Not pushed me, but like opened the world of producing to me. It wasn't something that I really truly thought about, but he was the one that asked me to produce his films and really showed me how it all worked. So I can't thank Professor Schmuller enough, and I'm so honored he's here. Without Professor Schmuller, I don't think I would have. Maybe I'd be doing camera work, maybe, but that doesn't have the same feeling of the completed project as producing does.
May May is one of those very special people who can bridge the divide between the creative and the practical, above the line and below the line. It is a true talent and one that very few possess. Congratulations, May May, on this very well-deserved honor. Come on up. And I'll remember to take it out of the box.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And this is for you.
Thank you.